Margot Robbie is one of Hollywood's most acclaimed actors, a name that evokes glamour, talent, and astonishing versatility. Yet behind the red carpet gowns, blockbuster hits, and magazine covers lies a personal fear that few might expect from someone at the top of her game. Despite her success, Robbie has spoken candidly about a label that haunts her, the dreaded stereotype of being seen as a dumb blonde. For a woman whose craft demands intelligence, nuance, and emotional depth, the idea that people could reduce her to a superficial caricature is not just frustrating, it's deeply personal. From the very beginning of her career, Margot Robbie's rise to stardom has been meteoric. Her breakout performances landed her in the spotlight, and almost immediately audiences and critics alike took notice. But along with that praise came a pattern familiar to many actresses who happen to be blonde, a tendency to have their talent overshadowed by assumptions about their intellect. Whether she was starring in gritty dramas, fast-paced action films, or character-driven stories, Robbie has been all too aware that audiences sometimes look first at her appearance and only later at her performance. It's an experience shared by countless women in entertainment. But for Robbie, who has always pushed herself to take on challenging roles and immerse herself deeply in her craft, the stereotype has always felt reductive. Early in her career, she was offered roles that seemed to exist solely to highlight physical attributes, often with little substance or complexity. She quickly learned that in order to be taken seriously, she had to seek out parts that would challenge public perception and prove that her intelligence and range extended far beyond her looks. Robbie's fear of being labeled a dumb blonde isn't rooted in vanity. It is rooted in integrity, in a desire to have her wake, her preparation, and her choices be seen for what they truly are. Intelligence in performance is not always loud or obvious. It is subtle, layered, and often revealed in moments that might escape a casual glance. Robbie understood early on that mere presence in front of the camera would never be enough. She had to inhabit her roles with intention and depth, and then she had to convince the audience to see beyond the surface. This challenge only became more pronounced as her career progressed into bigger roles and bigger projects. Success in Hollywood is often a double-edged sword. The exposure brings accolades, but it also brings scrutiny, sometimes unfair and frequently simplistic. As Robbie's star rose, so did the number of voices commenting on everything from her acting choices to her appearance, and at times even her personal life. In an industry obsessed with quick judgments and catchy headlines, the idea of a dumb blonde stereotype became a shadow she had to constantly wrestle with. Rather than retreat or accept the label, Robbie chose a different path, one of defiance and intention. She began selecting roles that subverted expectations, choosing characters with complexity, wit, intelligence, and emotional range. She embraced parts that demanded preparation and transformation, roles that required her to study, to adapt, and to reveal dimensions of humanity that went far beyond superficial impressions. In doing so, she showcased different facets of her talent: dramatic depth, comedic timing, fierce determination, and raw vulnerability. By taking control of her trajectory, Robbie began dismantling the stereotype piece by piece. She demonstrated that intelligence can be expressed in many ways, through character nuance, emotional complexity, and performance choices that defy easy categorization. She wasn't just playing characters, she was challenging the audience to reconsider assumptions and rethink preconceptions. But even as she worked to redefine her image through her craft, Robbie also spoke honestly about how the stereotype affected her emotionally. For someone deeply invested in her wake, being reduced to a shallow label can feel jarring and discouraging. The fear that people might focus on looks before talent, or assume a lack of depth based solely on hair color and appearance, is a fear shared by many performers. And yet Robbie has tackled it with a mixture of honesty and resolve. Her journey highlights an important truth about stereotypes. They can be subtle, pervasive, and persistent. They don't always scream their presence. Sometimes they whisper, shaping perceptions quietly over time. And for women in Hollywood, whether blonde, brunette, or otherwise, combating reductive stereotypes is often as much a part of the job as learning lines or walking down red carpet aisles. Robbie's approach has always been to let her work speak for itself, to allow her performances to be the ultimate rebuttal to simplistic labels. Whether she's playing a complex anti-hero in a dramatic thriller, a charismatic figure in a comedy, or a nuanced protagonist in an emotional narrative, her commitment to character and craft shines through. In every role, she brings layers of humanity, intelligence, and vulnerability, elements that defy flat stereotypes and remind audiences that real people are infinitely more complex than any label. In interviews and discussions about her career, Robbie has acknowledged that the stereotype exists, but she has also stressed a determination not to be defined by it. She has shared how frustrating it can be when people make assumptions based on appearance alone, yet she has never allowed it to dictate her choices or limit her ambitions. Instead, she sees it as a challenge, one that motivates her to continue proving her range and defying expectations. This mindset has earned her not only critical acclaim, but also admiration from fans and peers alike. Her ability to tackle diverse roles and make bold choices on and off screen has set her apart in an industry often criticized for pigeonholing actors. Robbie has shown that intelligence in performance goes beyond dialogue or dramatic speeches. It resides in the subtleties of expression, the depth of character immersion, and the power to move audiences without relying on superficial traits. Robbie's fear of being called a dumb blonde reflects more than a concern about public perception. It reveals a deep commitment to her craft and a desire to be respected for what she brings to her work. The stereotype may have followed her at times, but she has faced it head-on, using excellence in performance to dismantle assumptions and open doors for more nuanced representation. Her career trajectory now stands as a testament to the fact that talent, preparation, and intentional choice ultimately matter more than surface impressions. Her journey resonates not just with actresses, but with anyone who has ever felt underestimated, misjudged, or boxed by an unfair stereotype. In redefining the narrative around her image, Robbie has done something powerful. She has reminded audiences that intelligence cannot be judged by appearance, and that talent, real, authentic talent, shines most brightly when it challenges assumption and invites deeper reflection. As Margot Robbie continues to choose roles that showcase her range, depth, and versatility, she sends a message to the industry and to the world at large. Stereotypes may linger, but they can be dismantled when met with determination, skill, and unwavering belief in one's own abilities. And for an actress who has transformed fear into fuel, the story is far from over.